Tonight, a follow-up on fireworks.
I'm Quentin Shores with MTN News. A recent ordinance was passed in Great Falls limiting the types of fireworks that can be sold and discharged. I'll have more on that coming up.
We explain what voters approved last week regarding 4th of July celebrations. Plus,
I'm Jonathan Amberian in Helena. It appears the federal government could be on a path towards reopening after 40 days of shutdown. I'll have reaction from Montana's elected leaders and the latest on where things stand for Montanans who receive SNAP nutrition benefits.
and later, the end of an era.
Eddie's Corner is closing, but not in the way you think. I'm Brianna Juno with MTN News with all the details coming up.
From Montana's news leader, this is the MTN 530 News.
Good evening and thank you for trusting MTN for your 530 News. I'm Tim McGonigal. First tonight, a new ban on fireworks is sparking strong opinions across the Electric City. Voters approved the measure last week, and now the community is reacting to what that means for future celebrations. MTN's Quentin Shores reports.
If you plan on lighting any fireworks, you may want to think again, as a recent ordinance pass has limited the types of fireworks that can be sold and discharged.
So there are fireworks that are still permitted. There's a list of those you can read on our website. So you cannot buy and set off fireworks that are designed to leave the ground or explode upon activation.
You are permitted to use sparklers, fountains, ground spinners, snap caps, smoke dividers, and novelty items. If you are caught using anything else, it may result in a citation. But how will this new policy be enforced?
Moving forward, the City Commission will work with city departments and look at other enforcement plans. Right now, there are still penalties in place if you violate the regulations, and those include having to go to court and maybe being fined up to $1,000.
You also run the risk of having your fireworks seized, and if you're selling them, having your permit revoked. In August, we spoke with opponents of the ban who argued that not only will this be difficult to enforce, but it also punishes law-abiding citizens.
We have plenty of law-abiding citizens who, are doing all of the things that are required, and being respectful and, practicing safety.
You can still have a fireworks show if you have a permit to do so. So we will still have the People's Park and Rec Foundation annual 4th of July show, and the Voyagers will likely still have their show as well. You would just have to submit a permit to the city and get approved to do a show.
So the official firework displays will remain, but your neighbors setting off the 4th of July in their backyard is a no-go.
I've seen so many tragedies from it. I mean, there was that lady who lost her house and her pets, and then a couple of years ago, my neighbors set the field on fire next to my house.
Fourth-generation Montanan and attorney Sunday Rosberg knows all too well how unregulated fireworks can cause harm, as they resulted in one of her dogs lashing out on her other, resulting in the death of both.
Bella came around the corner and just snapped and just went toward her, grabbed her head and her neck area, started shaking her. It was like when you see an animal killing a gopher. And I thought, oh my God, she's going to kill her.
Bella was indoors when a large volume of fireworks sent her into a panic. In her case, it led to her taking the life of Rosberg's other dog, Lulu. In Rosberg's words, it was a sky full of fireworks and a bloody scene in the living room.
I think Bella just snapped and was, it's just extreme fear. So after I put Lulu down, once a cane corso or an animal has a kill like that, there's a very likelihood they will do it again. So I chose to put Bella down.
Rosberg hopes this ban will mean no one has to go through a similar experience to her when it comes to owning a pet. In Great Falls, Quentin Shores, MTN News.
It has been very windy today along the Rocky Mountain front with gusts over 80 miles per hour in some locations, and out across the plains we have had gusty winds today, gusts over 50 miles per hour in spots. The worst of the wind is now over with for a lot of us, but we're still dealing with gusty winds right now, and it's still very windy along the Rocky Mountain front. This has been a Chinook wind, so it did bring warmer air into the state. High temperatures today were in the 60s in several locations. Right now we are in the 50s and low 60s in most spots, and these temperatures are several degrees warmer than the temperatures were yesterday at this time. We've also had a lot of cloud cover around throughout the day today, but it has been mainly dry. Mild temperatures will stick around through Thursday, but cooler temperatures return for Friday and this upcoming weekend. We're also going to have gusty winds tomorrow and later this week, but we get a break from the wind on Wednesday. And I'll have a full look at this week's forecast in just a few minutes.
The longest federal government shutdown in history has dragged on for more than 40 days, but Congress could now be on a path toward reopening. Meanwhile, in Montana, officials say they've released the first partial benefits to people who've been waiting for federal food aid. MTN senior political reporter Jonathan Ambarian has the latest on where things stand.
Montana U.S. Senators Steve Daines and Tim Sheehy were among the 52 Republicans who voted Sunday night for the latest agreement intended to reopen the federal government. They were joined by 8 Democrats, clearing the 60-vote threshold required to start moving the agreement forward. In a statement to MTN, Sheehy said the Democrats who advanced the deal were finally doing the right thing. He said, quote, "I look forward to reopening the government, restoring badly needed common sense in D.C., and getting back to work for the American people." Daines said in a statement that, quote, "This is the exact same deal Republicans proposed a month ago, proving that this truly is a Democrat shutdown that could have ended before our troops and federal employees missed their paychecks, before thousands of Americans were stranded by flight cancellations, and before families on SNAP struggled to put food on the table." Montana's 2 U.S. House members, Republican Congressman Ryan Zinke and Troy Downing, will be on their way back to Washington, D.C., with the House expecting votes on an agreement later this week. On social media, Zinke said lawmakers could have, quote, "avoided all that pain if Democrats had agreed to advance Republicans' continuing resolution in September. He said, quote, "Americans from all stripes had their vital government services slowed or stopped. Billions of dollars hit to our economy for nothing." Congressional Democrats argued the shutdown lasted as long as it did because Republicans hadn't been willing to negotiate with them on issues like extending subsidies for health care plans under the Affordable Care Act. Meanwhile, after a back-and-forth series of federal court rulings, the Montana Department of Public Health and Human Services announced Monday that it had advanced partial SNAP nutrition benefits to clients. The federal government is currently advising states to only issue 65% of the typical maximum benefits for November.
Somebody who has SNAP, their allotment for a day is anywhere between $5 and $6. What's 65% of that? Is that enough? And it would be different if there was a reason, but Montana has the money.
State Representative Mary Cafaro of Helena is one of a group of Democratic lawmakers who announced over the weekend that they'd submit a petition asking for a special session to use state money to assist with SNAP. With Congress moving toward a possible end to the shutdown, Cafaro says they'll hold off on the petition for now, but she remains frustrated.
The crisis didn't happen today. It isn't going to happen whenever Congress gets their acts together. It isn't going to happen when we get a special session. We're already 10 days into it.
In Helena, Jonathan Ambarian, MTN News.
The IRS is shutting down its free direct file tax program. The Biden administration launched the online system last year to help low and moderate income taxpayers file their returns easily. Fewer than 300,000 people used direct file this year. Treasury Department officials say the program is being halted because it wasn't widely used. A popular central Montana rest stop is closing its doors for the winter. They're saying staffing shortages made it too hard to stay open. MTN's Brianna Juneau talked with the manager about what led to the decision.
It's a landmark at the junction of Highway 87 and 191. Eddie's Corner is known for its hot meals, full tanks, and Montana hospitality. But lately, word's been going around that this longtime stop might be closing its doors for good. Manager Vicki Abel says those rumors are just not true.
The store is not closing due to help, not having enough help. Wintertime it slows down. There's health issues involved. We are closed for the winter.
The restaurant and cafe side of the establishment will take a break during the slow winter season, a move management hopes will help them regroup and rebuild before the busy warmer months return.
Our intention is not to close the cafe because we've been open for over 70 years.
Eddie's Corner has long been a staple stop for travelers, truckers, and locals, it being one of the only places to stop for a bite to eat in between Great Falls and Lewistown.
You have the ones that are disappointed because, especially the truck drivers, they don't find very many places that they can stop and get a meal, a real meal, homemade meal on the road anymore.
Despite the closing of the restaurant, travelers will still be able to access gas and the store inside. Vicki says they're not leaving anyone behind.
You know, I've been here for 26 years, I've served a lot of people. I've been cooking here for that long. And so we want to get it back up and going as soon as we can.
The gas station and convenience store will all remain open through the winter. The restaurant, they say, plans to reopen once staffing improves, likely in the spring. In Fergus County, Brianna Juneau, MTN News.
Coming up, a Fort Benton animal shelter is throwing a party for a good cause this Friday. We'll tell you how the event is helping the community's furry friends.
From Montana's news leader, you're watching the MTN 530 News.
Welcome back. The Deadman Animal Shelter in Fort Benton is counting on the community for support. Their biggest fundraiser of the year is just around the corner, and it could make a big difference for pets in need. MTN's Eric Johnson shows us how.
Local shelters like the Deadman Foundation here in Fort Benton play a crucial role in our communities, providing refuge to countless animals in need. If you're looking for a way to support our furry friends and have some fun, be sure to check out Bark Fest, happening right here in Fort Benton this Friday.
After a years-long hiatus, the BarkFest fundraiser for the Deadman Foundation made a successful return last November.
One person said they thought they had 80 to 100 people at the previous ones, and we went way over 200 people.
So much so that they were able to completely refurbish the kennels and fund their feral cat program. And this year, shelter manager Katie Flynn hopes to continue to improve the quality of life for the furry residents of the shelter.
It's been my dream since I started here almost 2 years ago to get a dog run or a dog park or something built so we can let the dogs that can't be off leash run.
Katie's vision was brought to life by Perimeter Fencing in Carter, who built the dog run 2 weeks ago. It's already made a world of difference for the shelter's dogs.
The first dog we took out there, it was like almost in tears because just the joy of him being able to run.
And the funds from BarkFest will help raise money specifically to pay for it.
It's a lot of fun, and it makes a difference in their behavior and their spirits, and they get out there and have one-on-one time with you.
These animals often stay at the shelter for long periods, mainly because of low foot traffic.
The last time we traded was Christmas, and those dogs are still here.
A big part of keeping the shelter running comes from the community's generosity, especially when it comes to veterinary costs. The shelter doesn't have a vet on staff, so they rely on donations to cover those expenses.
For here, it's just kind of like individuals coming in and going, hey, we see you, we know what you do, we know how hard you work, we want to just, here's a check. And that is what keeps us going, honestly.
The shelter's small staff of 3 employees, along with dedicated volunteers, care for up to 30 cats and 8 dogs at any given time.
If we have sick animals, we sleep on the sofa and take care of them at night.
The evening will feature canine-themed cocktails from the Poorhouse Saloon, an Italian dinner, live music, and both silent and live auctions.
You'll be able to eat desserts all night long. It's going to be a lot of food.
For more information, be sure to check out this story on our website. In Fort Benton, Eric Johnson, MTN News.
Another episode of the McGonigal's Chronicles podcast is available. The latest edition features Hassan Davis, who is helping to tell the story of one of the most important figures on the Lewis and Clark expedition. Davis appears as York in the documentary film Big Medicine York Outdoors. It follows 8 adventurers on a 4-day river expedition along the Upper Missouri River. Davis began portraying York around the time of the expedition bicentennial. The more he performed the role, the more he found out that York was more than just William Clark's slave.
As I got to visit with elders from lots of the indigenous communities, they started to give me stories about him specifically. They weren't in our history books, and actually had one elder from the Nez Perce Nation who literally pulled me aside at a national event and said, if you're going to tell this story, you need to understand our story of him and make sure you carry this man's story with the dignity it deserves.
The film has been screened at various sites along the Lewis and Clark Trail and is expected to be available soon on the National Park Service website. You can download the full interview with Davis wherever you get your podcasts.